We made it.
That was like a real introduction. Like it did the whole thing. I just jamming back here.
I know. I kind of need that 30 seconds to breathe and get ready. And, right? Yeah. So yeah, I've seen some lives where this is like a 15-second. I'm like, no, I need more than 15 seconds. And then some are like a minute. And I'm like, yeah, I don't need a minute. I'm good. Yeah. So welcome. Hey, ladies. I know that we're chatting backstage and the time got ahead of us. We need to go. We need to meet backstage earlier.
Yeah.
Hi,
Well,
puppy.
yeah, there's the puppies.
All right,
should
let
have
me
gone
set
on
up the
earlier.
chat because I don't have the chat where I can see it. Hey, Taylor. See, now I can see Taylor. Let's see if I do it this way. Okay, now we can see Charlotte's name. And Charlotte, the only way for you to get Charlotte, if you want to put mortgage lender or whatever you want to put, you have to log out and log back in. So I'll leave that up to you. And you can either do it now or you can do it next time.
I'll be a mystery. I'm going to be
a mystery.
However,
Who is Charlotte?
Do you guys have a lag? Is it just on my side?
I don't have a lag.
I don't have a lag. Okay, good. All right. So if it's just me, then I can deal with it.
Yeah. Well, again, if you need to log out and log back in, feel free to do so.
Okay. We'll see how
we'll wait for you. Yeah. All right. Anything immediate that you really want to chat about? Otherwise, I'm going to throw out a question.
I just want to say a quick Happy New Year to everybody.
Yay!
Yeah, I'm excited. It's been really cool. Like, it feels like a really good fresh year for a lot of people. A lot of people I've talked to, it's like, I feel like we're really starting fresh. And you don't always get that. It seems like there's the off years, right?
Yes.
This is a good year for like gung-ho.
Well, I'm going to share a secret. I've never shared this with anybody, not with anybody. So here I am going live and sharing a secret. Typically, my even years are my build your foundation wherever you're at year, right? And then my odd years are growth years. And I do that intentionally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So this needs to be if I'm staying in my rhythm, and I've done this forever, that my odd years are growth, go for it, leap, and then I'll take a year where, okay, now get really stable where you're at. And then the next year is like, okay, let's leap some more. So this is a growth year for me.
Yeah. So you get comfortable with where you're at. So you're not. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. However, I probably would be exhausted if I had huge growth years year after year after year. I don't know. I've not really done it. I intentionally, not that I sit on my butt and just coast. It's just like build your systems, get an assistant, have better onboarding processes. Yeah.
Tweaking, like you spend a year to tweak. You build and then you tweak, and then you build and then you tweak.
Yeah.
That's good.
So you ladies both have growth years this year on the agenda?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Lots of big goals. Yeah.
Well, I have been. No, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I just said daunting growth years. Like I'm looking at it, I'm like, ooh, that's a big goal, Charlotte. That's a big goal. That 10x thing, I decided to go for the 10x. We're just 10x.
Is that because you read the book or did a 10x webinar or just decided?
No, I had set my goal. I've listened to the 10x book a couple of times. I think there's some great things in there. Some things I like with everything, you take a little of a grain of salt, right? But I do think there's something to historic. I think history does teach us. And the 10x is like, throw history away. I'm like,
we were able to look back for a reason.
Right. But the whole 80-20 is there. But no, I just decided to get out of my own effing way. I mean, that's like, what am I waiting for? I can do it all. So there you go.
There you go. Well, we are going to help you 10x your business. That's what we're here for. That's you too, Miss Karen Henson.
Yeah. Yes, we are. Big goals on this side too. And I also am really excited. And, it's interesting. Obviously every year through coaching with you, we set up our goals and we start working on that in October. And I always feel very ready when January comes. However, I also am mindful that I can just keep growing even during, the time between October and January. But this year just feels very different. This year feels like a fresh start. And I can't really explain why, but I'm super excited about it.
Yeah. I'm not sure why either, but I've noticed with my coach calls, I mean, first of all, I can't believe it's already the 9th. It's like, in a couple of days, we're halfway through the month. I just like, whoa. And I've had a lot of coach calls and 95% of my clients are ready.
Yeah.
And there's still a few that are lagging, but for the most part, they're like, okay, let's go. And Charlotte and Karen, you might want to roll your eyes, and it's okay if you do. But you know my rhythm. So come January, I'm asking everybody, like, let's figure out what your hunting number is,
Mhm.
right? And for them, and I know it's different with lending. For my realtors, depending on how long they've been with me and what program they're in, they're either at 60 or 70%. So most of my clients that are at 1-to-1 are at 70. There's a few newbies, so I give them a little bit of grace and say 60% of your transactional goal must be in your pipeline by the end of March. Period.
And for lending, it's June.
I know.
Just a little bit.
And yes, and they're like, nobody's freaking out. I've thought, because typically they're like, oh my God, oh my gosh. And I have some people that have a hunting number of, one has 10, one has 7, one has 8. And then today I have somebody that only has 2. And I'm like, and it's not a little goal.
That's awesome.
And last year, this person was maybe at 10. So, I mean, he was jumping up and down going, oh my gosh, I only need to hunt for 2
That's
between
awesome.
now and the end of March. And I was like, well, okay, we can keep it there if you want, because we've had 1 full year of coaching. Yes. Or maybe your goal is too little. And like, nope, we're keeping it where it's at. I'm like, okay, but next year I'm going to make sure that it's a leap.
That's right. You know what's funny is you said that reminded me, I was doing our goal setting with our team, and normally I'm just like, okay, what do you want to do this year? You know, what do you want to do? And 2 people came to me with these goals, and I'm like, I mean, you pick, but does that excite you? Like, are you excited at the end of December? If you hit this, are you going to be like, yeah. And they're like, I mean, I'm like, nah, no. You got to up it to at least the excitement. It doesn't have to be big, grand excitement, right? But if you hit this number, you need to feel very proud and excited for whatever that number is. And if you haven't put that number in, you missed the mark.
Yeah. I think if the number, it has to make your stomach hurt a little bit, right? A little uncomfortable. And then what happens is that it just shifts in January, where the feeling in your stomach is excitement instead of being nervous.
Yeah.
That's a good goal.
Yeah.
I did have a couple people on the team that they did all the planning and they got it. And then January started bad. Like, you know, sometimes you have all the plans and January 2nd, you're ready, or even towards the end of December, you're ready. Yep. And it's been interesting coaching. And Karen, I know you've probably done this a million times, when you have people that have all these great intentions and for things that they absolutely can't control, that these things are just people dying or died or failed, you know, big rocks that literally got in their way. And I just remind everybody, you know, February is a great starting point too.
Yeah, that's right. It's okay.
Just remember that by the end of January, your only goal is to be super clear on what February to December is going to look like.
Okay. Good save, Charlotte.
Yeah.
Really, well, that's life events, and we cannot control life events. As long as they're not starting with excuses, right?
Yeah.
And then yes, I know.
Family first. I mean, that's important. That's very important.
It is. And I actually had this conversation with one of my agents today, that if everything is planned out and all of your tactics are planned out and your calendar is in order, when you get off course, it makes it easier to get back on course, right? And all of us are going to get off course either for an hour or a day or a week or a month based on life.
I wish I had said that. That was so good, Karen. I should have said that in that conversation. I should have been like, do you know all that planning you did in October, November? You're so ready. Yeah. It's okay. It's start a month late. You've got your track.
But that only doesn't work if they really are ready and have a plan.
Oh, they are. Yeah.
No, I know they.
That is the one good thing I can say about the people. That's the difference. Karen, would you say more people were willing to put in the work before January 1 in your team?
Yes.
That was it. Like the entire team was willing to like really dig in before the fact. I don't know what that is. It was in the water. I don't know. Maybe tech talks are getting to people.
It does. I mean, it makes such a difference, because I think even though we do this every single year, it would be really easy to underestimate the amount of work that goes into goal setting. And
when it's done right.
When it's done right, exactly. Setting the goals, mapping out the marketing plan, mapping out the tactics. I mean, everything that goes along with it really takes a long, long time. And so if you don't start early, I don't know how you actually have a plan that you can feel good about.
Then when you have something that derails you, you're really lost. You don't have those tracks to get back on because you didn't spend the time to really know what your clear plan is. A clear plan should have milestones and steps, but if it needs to start here instead of here, it should still work because you've got your plan. So no, I'm with you. That would have been a really good thing to say, Karen. I might go back.
Well, you have that, yes, and you can, right, do another motivating call. But it is true. And then there's sometimes life events happen that you have warning for. You know, like I know I'm going to be out probably 2 weeks sometime in February, and I'm going to have to be really proactive with all of my clients with their calls and their scheduling because of, you know, my daughter having a baby. And, you know, I'm the one that's watching the 3-year-old when she's in the hospital. So there's going to be, you know, so I can prepare for this, right? I can start telling people now, working on my calendar. I'm like, I don't know exactly when, you know, the baby's going to pop out, but there's also, okay, I'm going to, as far as maybe not my clients, but lead generation, those things that I do for my business, I've got to front load it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Dawn. Yes. So there's front loading your action steps when you know you're going to be gone for family. And then, certainly there's things like the fires right now. You know, there's nobody expected that to happen. And I'm sure there's a gazillion realtors in that area.
Yes.
Yeah. Speaking of which, my son-in-law's grandparents lost their home yesterday. They live in Pacific Palisades. Yeah. And they found out, they were evacuated 2 days ago, but they found out today their home was one of the homes.
Oh,
so sad.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's gonna be a lot of loss.
Yeah. So I mean, those things there's just nothing you can do. I mean, that's not front loading, motivating mindset. It's just life.
You get through it and then you start back on your track. I mean, that's just part of it.
Yeah.
Be thankful we have another day.
Yes. Yeah. And everybody's safe. So I can't imagine though, all of that going on in life.
Yeah. Well, and the unexpected changes that will come out of it for so many people, right? I think is a really interesting thing. And at this point, obviously, it's far too early for anyone to even be thinking this way. But I remember when there was a large disaster in an area that I was working, and you know, people that were a couple of years from retiring just retired early. People whose kids were a couple of years from graduating didn't rebuild there, they rented, and you know, just all kinds of very interesting dynamics to come out of this. So as
at a pivotal point, this was a pivotal point, so they made the pivot. Pivot later when I can pivot now. Makes sense.
I mean, this has nothing to do with one another, and this is just how my crazy brain works. I know how many real estate agents retired when the NAR ruling came out. It's like, I don't want to do it. You know, I'm 85. I'm pivoting. I'm retiring, right? And I have a lot of realtors that benefited from it by taking over their database.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So on that note, I'm going to brag on one of my agents who, had to have the conversation with her buyers because the seller came back and wasn't willing to pay what her buyer broker agreement stated the buyers were going to pay, and they bridged the gap. She did great, held her head up high. And that comes from, you know, all the talking that we've done about that, all the training that we've done on it, right? She went through it with flying colors. She was so excited.
Nice.
She's like, I said yes. I'm like, of course you did. Of course you did. So I understand why some of the people got out of the business, and that's, you know, everyone's personal decision, but thankfully it's really not that bad.
Well, ask that agent to brag in the private Facebook group about what they did.
Okay, will do.
Yep. That would be, that's a great brag, and that's a great way to start the year.
Yes. Yeah.
So I have, interesting enough, as you both know, I get SOS calls, and I have gotten, not a lot, but I've gotten 2 or 3 SOS calls over the interest rates. Like, you know, the Fed's lowered the rates, or they're supposed to be going down and they're not going down. And I know, Charlotte, you're rolling your eyes, but I'm like, you got to go talk to your lender to understand more about what's going on. Right. And it is what it is.
What is your famous thing that you have to say to yourself all the time? What the F are you waiting for? Is that it?
Yes, that's the one. I just did a video on that, by the way. Yes.
Your buyers are going to buy. There is somebody buying.
Yep.
Stop worrying about the rates. We can't control them. Nobody knows what's going to happen. They're probably not going to go down. They projected down. It never happened. Now they're projecting stable. It's probably going to go up. Who cares? Control what you can control, and
Right.
And get a good lender that will give you the real rates. Like, that's important. You need a weekly update so that you know what the interest rates are looking like, so you can at least be knowledgeable when you're talking to people, because you do need to have that, like, yeah, no, they're not 5. You know,
Right, correct.
and understand. I put one of my stories this week was, do you know what a $350,000 loan payment is? And I talk to people all the time, and in my market, that's a nice average loan size. Tanya, I know, not for you guys, but
well, no, but as you know, I'm looking at purchasing a home in Oregon, and my loan, after my down payment, my loan's going to be $235.
That's a pretty, like, 230 to 350 is pretty much what your first and second home buyers on our side of the country are looking at. And most people think they can get that for $2,000 a month. No, that's not what that is anymore. It's closer to 3. So an agent having a lender that will let them know what the rates are doing, what the trend is, right? Let them know when it's time to lock in. So if there's a dip, take advantage of it, because it doesn't last long. That's what, oh, look, rates are going down. It will last a week. Go get under contract.
That's right.
Make a decision. Quick. But other than that, like, that shouldn't be what is motivating you to get out and do what you need to do.
Right.
Bottom line.
Yep. No. Yep.
Stop waiting.
Yep. And it's an excuse. In my opinion, my perspective, it's an excuse why their business is slow.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I know that I've had many clients in December closing anywhere from 1 to 7 homes. And they weren't like at an all-time low.
No, we had lots of best years ever last year. People that have been in the industry and had their best year ever. And the mortgage, and they're the ones that didn't give up because the rates were high, or just you have to. It's not to keep working, because if you keep working and you stay negative about the rates, and the rates are always in your head, you're going to run into blockades. But if your mentality is, there's a way to do it around the rates, there's a way to do it around whatever that around NAR, right? If there's a way around it, and that's your mentality, then you're going to attract that same person.
Yep.
Well, the reasons that we have for the business to always be moving, regardless of interest rates, inflation, cost of housing, whatever we all know is, birth, death, marriage, divorce, relocation, right? All of those things are still happening regardless of where the rates are. And I do believe that there's some pent up demand. People that have held back from making that change because of rates are beginning to get tired of waiting, right? I'm seeing that with what's in my pipeline right now. These are people that have been talking to me over the last couple of years about waiting for the right time to move. And it's time. The right time actually was 2 years ago.
Waiting. Okay, the rates aren't going down.
Right. And so, if you have 3 children in a house that only has room for 1 child, at some point you have to figure something out.
Yep. Yeah, I know. Yeah, absolutely. It is. Yeah. So Karen, with your people, are you, when an agent says to you, there's no business out there? So I'm kind of putting you on the spot, but what do you say? Let me back this up. There is a series that I watched on Netflix called The Playbook. And it's 5 episodes, and whoever does the interviews, I don't remember, Netflix, right, does the interviews with coaches. So it's a soccer coach, a basketball coach, the coach that coached Serena Williams, not her father, but a tennis coach, and I don't remember his name. I'm sorry, I don't remember his name, but he said something during the interview. He said a lot of things. His was my favorite. He says, when I coach, I don't worry about getting fired. Yeah. Most coaches coach not to get fired. And that hits me to a T. I hurt my clients' feelings. They feel ouch. Sometimes their toes feel stepped on, right? I learned this years ago. I come with the warning signal. I coach not to get fired. So do you guys, when you talk, like, Karen, you first, then Charlotte, when you're talking to your team, when you got somebody that's like, oh, it's the market, oh, it's NAR, I don't have business, what do you say?
Oh, I start asking questions like, what exactly are you doing? What activities are you doing? How often are you doing them? Can we role play on how that's going? It usually doesn't get far enough to the role play because what activities are you doing is pretty much where it's at.
Right, or not doing.
If you ever took that to role play, they're never going to let you go there again. Right. No role play.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we had a long time ago, we had a group call, and there was an agent who wasn't doing her stuff, and Tanya says, "Get off of the call right now and go do this." And it was a social media post, and don't come back until it's done. And she did it, and
She did it. I thought when she logged off, she'd never come back to the group
same here. I'm
call.
like, oh, there went another agent.
Well, there she went, and Tanya lost another client here. And it's like, no, she logged off, did what was asked, came back. It's like, I did it, and I'm like, oh my goodness, right? So sometimes you coach so that not worrying about it. And same thing with being a team leader. I want you to lead.
Yes. Well, and one of the things that I find out, is oftentimes they're just fooling themselves, right? So it's not like a visit to the principal's office, right? It's helping them understand that there is more that they could be doing right now for business, right? And I think even comparing them to the other agents is unfair, right? Because there's different circumstances for different agents. Somebody might be really well connected on, I don't know, the pickleball court or something,
right?
Something like that, right? That makes a difference in the source of where their business comes from. So I really think just focusing on what they are doing and then helping them to find either the reason they're not sticking to their plan and helping them execute their plan, or maybe even examining what part of the plan maybe needs to be changed.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. I had a client who wanted to do a long-term visioning plan. Because one of my newsletters recently said, hop on a call with me and we'll do a vision your next 5 years together kind of thing. And with my client who wanted to do that, I'm like, yeah, go close 5 homes first.
Yeah.
I did. And I've not heard from her since. Because that was distracting. Like, it's like, this is, I want you to be lead generating right now. I need you out there asking for referrals. It's January. It's like, I'm not letting you get distracted on what the next 5 years looks like. We have the why, we have your plan for the year. We've worked really hard on it. I am not going to squirrel with you.
Nice.
So yeah,
it does get to that point, that constant, it becomes just a way of procrastinating rather than actually doing the work. And I find myself, I definitely find myself doing that. Like, okay, I'm gonna go to this. Let's make sure I've got my plan. And I'm not a perfectionist. So it's truly just procrastination, liking to sit. And I love the creative process.
Yeah.
So I find myself getting into that creative process. I'm like, am I getting into this because I just don't want to go do the work?
Right, exactly. Right. I can sit here and plan what I want, 2029 to look like, and it's and it's a good thing. It's good to have it. However, not right in the middle of a month where we're behind in our goals and have a big hunting number. I'm like, yeah, no, we got to stay focused on what we need to stay focused on. I'll do this long-term visioning thing with you later. It's like, yeah, I know it sounds harsh. However,
and Karen, I might be a little more harsh than you because I do somewhat. I don't say, why aren't you like this other loan officer? However, I happen to know that all of my loan officers are amazing loan officers. So I can say this very confidently. So when I have one that's doing really good and one of my other ones like, oh, I'll never do what that other one is. I'm like, why?
Right.
There's no business. I'm like, so why is this person getting business? Are they better at doing loans than you are? Well, no. Are they nicer? Well, no. We're all so I make them realize that the only thing blocking them from doing more is themselves. It has nothing to do with the market. It is all internal, because if it's out there to be guided. So I do a little, not like a why are you not like this other person, but
Right.
if they can do it, so can you, because your superpowers aren't exactly the same, but
But they
have
still have superpowers.
as strong. I don't have anybody with a weak superpower. They're all extremely strong in their superpowers. So you're just not digging in to your superpower as often and as regularly as this person. So if you want to step it up, if you want to go get business, it's time to, and then I make them hone in and realize what their superpower is and just go do more activities around it. Are you doing activities, and are you tuned into your superpower? Those are the two things that you're not doing. That's why you're not plugged in and seeing that traction.
Yeah. So one of my favorite things to ask my clients, I don't know, I don't want to, this is a test. Karen, you can answer it. Taylor, if you want to type it in, what do I typically ask that's kind of revealing as to your lead generation? Can you think? I mean, I don't want to put you on the spot. I can certainly answer it. But what do I typically ask? And you're like, oh, I know.
Regarding our lead gen?
Uh-huh. I'll say, look back at your week and what?
Yeah.
No, it's okay. I know I'm putting you on the spot. I look, and you're gonna go, yes, of course. I hear you say this all the time.
Yeah.
Would you hire yourself or fire yourself as a CEO? Yeah. And I get a lot of, or would you put yourself maybe on a performance improvement plan, right? Maybe it's a PIP. Maybe it's not quite a fire, but I got to be on a PIP. And it is true because. Yeah, but you hire yourself or fire yourself. And I have weeks where I would fire myself. I am by no stretch of the imagination perfect, and why I have a coach. However, most of the weeks I want to make sure I get hired.
Right.
Meaning I'm going to get clients.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and it's just so much easier to start the next week when you have a foundation of a good week before, right? That, starting a diet on Monday can go on all year long.
Yeah,
I've
done that.
Right. The same thing with our tactics. Right. You have to have the ability to let that last week go if it was a week that you need a performance improvement plan, and just be better the next week.
Yeah. Well, I'd like, and again, you guys know this, I'd like most of you to have an idea of how many hours per week you're going to put in for lead gen. Like you're going to have hours for social media, which also can be lead gen. It could be some hours for admin work. Right. You right. All of that is okay. I want to make sure that there's hours for lead generation.
I found that the starting fresh at the beginning of the week, sometimes we get in that rut and it's just really hard to find that ground to start working in. So I've really, really focused for myself. I found that to get out of that, because I get in that rut. Like I get to that point where it's normally when I've put way too many hats on and I can't see straight, right? I can't see the road because of all the hats that I'm wearing.
Oh my goodness, Charlotte, you put on too many hats?
No, really? No. That creative engine. Yeah. But yeah, so I have found that for me, the best way, and I don't know if this would work for everybody, but for me, the best way to just get that clear path. And Tanya, you say the bookend, right? You say the bookend your week or the bookend your day. I have found that when I need that fresh start on Sunday, I do need to start with that bookend. Okay. All right. Like you said, I've got to clear that slate.
Yeah.
What are my minimum standards this week? And I'm going to do my minimum standards. And who was it that was Win the Day? Shoot, I can't remember what that book, but there's a day where you write down, what is it going to take for me to win tomorrow?
Yeah.
What does winning tomorrow look like? And I write that down. And then at the end of the day, I set myself a reminder. I'm like, write down what you did to win the day. And so then I go back, and even if it wasn't perfect in alignment, I write down what I did to win that day. And it's just getting the mindset shifted to what I'm doing well, rather than focusing on that negative. Man, I wish I could remember that book that came from. It's a great book, and I can't remember it right now. But it's just when you start on Monday, what is it going to take for me to win Monday? And then at the end of Monday, what did I do to win today? Yeah. And that just gets that mind of what I did accomplish. Yeah. It gets you stuck. It's like putting stuff under your tires to where you can get out of the mud a little bit.
Right.
And for team members that are really, really off course, just reminding them that if they just simply do tomorrow just a teeny bit better than today, right? So if it's just one more call or one more note or one more anything, if they're really, really down on themselves about their activities and such. That's, another great tactic.
Yeah.
Isn't it interesting that we know what we need to do? And I feel like everybody does this. We all know what we need to do. We know the work. We have the excuses. We know it, but we just can't do it sometimes.
Yeah. So I learned something recently called a get to list, which is a list of things that I get to do when I finish my work. And it's whatever, go play pickleball or go, be with the grandbabies. And it's all things that I don't get to do until the work is done. But the focus, it's not like necessarily a, oh, you can't do that because you didn't finish your work. But the focus is finish your work because then you get to go do this stuff.
Right.
It's a joy list.
Yep. Okay. So I'm going to make an observation, and please don't kick me in the shins. And I know how long we've known each other. Do you realize all three of us are grandmothers?
Yay.
It just blows me away. Like, where did the time go?
Right.
I remember, Karen, when you weren't even engaged,
I know.
Lots of going, oh my God. I'm looking at us going, oh my God, we're grandmothers.
I know. It's really crazy.
Yeah.
Oh. So that's why my favorite life, because I changed my word of the year for my business every single year, but my life so far has resonated for at least 10 years now. I've had the same life phrase. What the F are you waiting for? Because I look at us going, what are we waiting for?
Time goes by so fast. Yeah, that's it. Time goes by way too fast.
Yeah. All right. So I want you guys to each shout out something. However, I do want to do a shout out for a client. I'm not going to name her, and I don't know that she's listening or if anybody knows who. Because I really, because I want to hold some confidentiality, of course. But so I don't know how to start this without spilling the beans. We had our mastermind call. So once a month, my clients, we have a mastermind call, and somebody was struggling, sharing that they were struggling, overthinking, not getting things out because she overthinks it. And as you know, for the month of January, it's a big month for me to coach you guys on asking, like, who do you know that wants to buy or invest this year? Who do you know that wants to buy, sell, or invest this year, depending on if you're a lender or a realtor? And we've got to get that out everywhere, like your email signature, voice text, goal sheets or whatever, right? And oh my gosh, she has rocked this week since the mastermind. She's like, Tanya, that mastermind just flipped a light bulb for her.
Awesome.
Right? And she has done 2 videos with asking. She has changed her email signature. She put out a newsletter that had it in there. And I'm like, wow.
That's
so I
good.
wanted to shout her name out. However, right, I don't want to embarrass her. But
I know how it is. Good job.
Yeah, that's
her
awesome.
video was amazing. I just posted it in the private Facebook group, her video. But I mean,
Sometimes
that
you
would
just-
not have happened before the mastermind that we had.
Sometimes you just have to start. It's contagious, right? You do one thing and then you're like, well, that was fun. Let's do
you
more.
start putting your brave pants on. It's like, that wasn't so hard,
Yeah.
right?
And the video thing is probably the scariest. I know it's like super scary for people to get on video. And I have this conversation with my people. I'm like, if you do it over and over again, it'll be less scary. I mean, that little glass eye will get less and less intimidating. And it's okay if you suck at the beginning. It's okay.
It
People
is.
laugh at you. And you know what? There's no such thing as bad publicity, right? I mean, let them laugh. It's okay.
It's okay to have a spelling error. It's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just okay, right?
It
We're
is.
human.
Oh, that reminds me. One of my teammates, she got up and she had to get up and speak. And she's normally very eloquent. She's a great speaker. But she just, you know how Tanya, you said it. She didn't give her 1, 2, 3 breathe before she got up there.
Right.
And she got up there, and and probably the fact that I was in the crowd didn't help things, right? Her manager is out there. She gets up and she starts fumbling. She goes, "That was horrible. I'm starting over." It was awesome, and everybody laughed. And it was like, I'm like, that is great. Like the authentic. I'm human, and that was bad. Let me. I can't wait to see somebody do that on video. Like, okay, never mind. That was horrible. Let me just say that again.
Right. Yep. It's okay. All right, ladies, I'm going to interrupt for the sake of time. Karen, please, and I hope this is okay. You don't have to shout out it if you don't, but I would like you to shout out your 1031 exchange. If anyone's listening, they can join if you want them to. So do whatever you want for a shout out and how they can find you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, we are hosting a 1031 exchange virtual seminar next week on the 14th. at 9:30 a.m. Pacific time. You just need to, I guess, probably find me on social media is the easiest way. Karen
Do me a
Henson.
favor, Karen. When this is
Yeah.
done, go to Facebook and LinkedIn, or I guess because I don't know if you post it on Facebook. I don't think they can see it on LinkedIn. Just go
Okay.
into Facebook and LinkedIn. Those are the two platforms. Write something about it and put the info in it.
I will. Okay. So all agents, lenders, anybody in the business is welcome to join this one. We will be having a client class as a follow-up, but it's real important for this one just to be for the professionals because the material is geared toward us. The presenter is phenomenal. I promise you will enjoy it and learn something from it. It's well worth your time coming.
Awesome. Yep. So yeah, put it. And so Charlotte, do you want to do a plug-in for your new your new program?
One of my shiny hats that I got on a side. Yeah, we had a whole holiday. Like, what was I going to do on the holiday? Well,
I don't know.
Create a members on my website. I mean, taught myself. What did I call it? Oh, now I can't. Now you see it. I can't even remember what WYSIWYG. WYSIWYG. There we go. What you see is what you get. So it is a website for Recharging with Champions, which is the podcast. If you're a realtor or a lender, anybody in the real estate profession that wants to get on video but has the excuse of, I don't know what to say. Yeah, you don't have that excuse anymore, because Recharging with Champions, every 3 days a week, I give a topic that you can put on your social media. The other 2 days, I'm motivating or teaching you how to do something. But it is just quick, informative things that you can say to your sphere in your own words on your own social media. But I created a members only site that is completely free right now for all of my legacy members. So for the first couple of months, you're going to help me by giving me feedback, letting me know what's good, what's bad, what you love, what you don't use. That way I can really perfect the site. And in the meantime, you're going to be a legacy for life. So you get in with free members only for forever. And in that legacy site, we have scripts that go with the topics. So there's a calendar, a content calendar for January in there. That content calendar has things. You're not going to pick all of them. Pick 1 video, 2 videos a week, whatever you want to do. Just select the ones you want. And then when you've selected them, you go into the members site and you're going to have scripts. So you can even use the scripts and make your videos, or read the script before you make the video, so you make sure you get your information, help, whatever level you're on, basically. But it's completely free for the first couple months. So use the code LEGACY when you're checking out. So you're going to check out just like you're buying the membership, but use LEGACY and it will give you the membership for free for life. So I can't wait, and I'm excited.
It's impressive.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks. It's the first go round, and I'm pretty excited about it. And it's really, I enjoy this hat. It's a lot of fun creating it and seeing what I can do to make it better for people. So yeah. Share it with any real estate professional, please.
There you go. Yeah, and same thing. Go in after this and put the information in the comments, because
and hey, if you're a realtor and you have a lender that maybe does a little bit of video, or you think might want to do some video, please, this is definitely for lenders too. Please have them go do it. Lenders should love this, so you can jump in there.
Yep. Awesome. Thank you, ladies. All right, we are over time like we always do. So we just have to just start saying it's 45 minutes, because that's typically what we do. Anything else before we say goodbye?
No,
we're good.
Happy New Year. Kill it in January, folks. Go do it.
Let's have a great year. And if you need me or Charlotte or Karen, you know where to find us. Bye, everybody.
Bye.